Back with another episode of Fit Talk and Motivation. I'm the MTMJ Fitness. I'm still inspired. I'm still motivated. I'm still dedicated. But I'm always finding ways to keep myself, keep that drive going. You know, the older I get, the tougher it is to break my sleep and get my ass in the gym. I ain't even about to hold you. Especially coming off of vacation when I had a good old time with my family. Let's recap. I want to say happy Easter to everybody. I didn't get an opportunity to say happy Easter to. I enjoyed my Easter. So I hope you enjoyed yours. So let's get right into it. First of all, I want to give a shout out to all my first time listeners. I want to give a shout out to all the continued listeners, the people that continue to support this podcast and give it the viewership and the listenership that it deserves. Also, I want you to go subscribe to the YouTube, man. We put these videos out. And we're working hard to make sure we keep that content ready and pushing for you guys, staying consistent. All right, man. Let's get into it. Easter, I went to North Carolina with my kids and my wife. We had a great old time. We stayed in North Carolina. I can't even pronounce the name of the city we stayed in. Well, let me tell you something. It was very hard to get on the internet and do any of the things that I need to do. And the funny thing was that Saturday when the second day I was there, you know, I really had to do a lot of promoting for the podcast, you know, kind of putting out episode 23. Man, shout out. Hey, man, listen. Again, episode 23, y'all. It's been 4-5 months of consistent grinding on this podcast, and we are in episode 24. The grind is real, man. Hey, so look, man, before I get into the things I really want to talk about, man, listen, it's so important, and I talked about this on the last podcast, to really check in on your people and then also find the time to check in on yourself. Your mental health is important, man, because earlier this week, man, an ex-NFL player killed 5 people in South Carolina, including himself. Just to break down, say former NFL player Phillip Adams fatally shot 5 people, including a prominent doctor, his wife, and their 2 grandchildren, before later killing himself, the authorities said. This all happened on Thursday. Say York County Sheriff told news conference on Thursday, investigators have not determined the motive of the mass shooting. But look, man, NFL players, and for a while, CTE has been a real thing. You know, a lot of guys are faking CTE, as they say, quote unquote. I'm not going with that narrative, and I'm not sponsoring that narrative, right? But there's a lot of guys that are really going through it, and these are guys that we deem to be, you know, rich and at the top. You know what I mean? And like I explained last podcast, and we continue this narrative. This podcast is about transparency and growth. You know, we want to make sure we building people up and not tearing people down on this podcast. But at the same token, man, we have to take the time out, y'all, to really focus on our mental health, man. Mental health doesn't mean you have a weakness, man. Mental health doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you have a problem. But mental health, it means when you realize it and you can check in on yourself, that means you need some sort of help. So this man takes out a doctor, his wife, you know, their 2 grandchildren. One grandchildren was 9, and the other grandchild was 5. So, you know, it's just to show, man. So the player, he had a 45 and a 9mm handgun that he used to kill them. See, Adams here, here's the thing, man. He had been treated by the doctor. He had lived near his parents' home in Rock Hill, according to a person who was briefed about the investigation, who spoke on conditions of anonymity, because, you know, you really don't, anonymity means you just don't have the authority to be talking in person, so you can't really put your face behind it. You can speak without a face. You know, they don't want people to know exactly that you're the one that snitching. You snitching on folks. You know, excuse me, man. I'm recording pretty late. After this podcast, I want to make sure I'm able to take my ass to sleep. So I'm consuming fruit. That's going to give me the energy and the vibe to really vibe to you guys. But I think this is alarming, man. Because it just adds to the narrative, man, that, you know, it's so important that the folks that we vote in office really put an effort in working on this mental health piece, man, because it's bad. You hear it, man. I was listening to CNN last week as well. And the sheriff in New York was talking about the hate crime with the Asians and whatnot. And he said the reason that the mental health really dies off because it's not enough people putting their name behind it. It's not enough people like harking and yelling about it. He said in the moment when things happen, folks are really raising their voice and they're really saying that, okay, we need to change this, we need to change that, we need to do this, and we need to do that. But as time goes past, the voices tend to dwindle, and the support behind the situation tends to die. You know, I'm just one guy, man. And in most cases, I'm not really that important to most. I'm not really important enough to really get the message out. But that's why I rely on the people that enjoy the podcast and really support the podcast. Because when you hear things that you like, that's why I ask you to share. Sharing, I really feel when I watch the podcast and, you know, I review it, that I'm doing my best to put out the best episode each time that I possibly can and give y'all the best energy that I possibly can. And also make sure I'm being transparent and giving you my energy. You know what I mean? So, but again, man, this guy played 78 games in the NFL over 6 seasons with 6 teams. He joined the 49ers in 2010 as a 7th-round draft pick out of South Carolina State. He rarely started. He played for New England, Seattle, Oakland, New York Jets, and the Falcons. So the Falcons was his last team in 2015. Says as a rookie, man, he suffered a severe ankle injury that required surgery and includes several screws during the insert of his leg. He never played for the 49ers again. They released him in 2001. He later signed with the Ravens. And here's the thing, man. He had 2 concussions over 3 games in 2012. So over 3 games, he had concussions. I've had multiple concussions before just playing football, not on their level, but just on a small-time level. So I know the impact of a concussion. I had one major concussion to the point where I just was playing street football that it required me to sit down for 10 minutes, take a breath, and really get back in the game and do my thing. And I'm telling you, I promise you, I'm not making no money to do that. So I understand if you, over time, the repeat blunts of force to the head and you're not really treating it properly and you're not really paying attention to it. Because in most cases, I think as an NFL player, and I'm not an NFL player, so I'm only giving my opinion. Guys are working for a living, right? They got a lot of situations they really have to take care of. In most cases, they got to do what they got to do. So in most cases, they will lie or they will, you know, fabricate the truth, and I think that leads to, you know, issues down the road. They say whether he suffered long-lasting concussion-related injuries wasn't immediately clear. So Adams would have not been eligible for testing as part of the broad settlement between the league and former players over such injuries because he hadn't retired by 2014. So he didn't retire until after 2015. So he wouldn't have had an opportunity to really join that little settlement and be tested to see if he had any reminiscence of CTE or whatever test they take as far as for concussions. But man, look, it's still sad, man, altogether, man. Families lost. It's clear, he had an issue with that particular family because, like I said in the beginning of the piece, and I'm reading off of NFL Network, NFL.com, ESPN, and whatnot. Said in the beginning he was treated by his doctor, so it was something that his mind told him that he didn't feel right about from that situation. So yeah. All right, moving on. about 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? I've been working for this company that I worked for multiple years. Shit, not multiple years, man. It's been a decade plus. And while you can see some areas of the company that needs to be improved, as far as diversity, as far as inclusion, as far as transparency, because they don't do a good job at being transparent with people that is not of that bar of like communication. So a prominent manager that I was really cool with has always treated me fair throughout my time with this company. He decided that he was going to up and quit and go on. And I get it, man. At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you, not what's best for me. And I'm not mad at him. So this new fresh new dude comes in. Yeah, a year and a half with the company. Mind you, I've been with this company on and off about 14 years. Right. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen the ups, and I've seen the downs with this company. But at the same token, I had a problem with the guy because you don't have to reach out to me, but don't come in on your first visit questioning my ability and what I can do. When my numbers speak for themselves, I didn't have to be there for one bit to do anything. You have a laptop, you can pay attention to the same numbers that I can see daily. Don't freaking question my ability. I have a problem with it. I can own up to my wrongs. I'm man enough to stand by the things that I do. But when I'm there, I'm active, I am attentive, and I stand by my ability. You know why I stand by my ability? Because I don't do it for me. I do it for my family. So that's why I stand by my ability. When motherfuckers come around, excuse my language, questioning my ability, I have a freaking problem with it, especially when you don't know me. You haven't given yourself an opportunity to get to know me. You haven't given yourself the opportunity to see what I can do. You haven't sat back from an eyebird's view and actually see exactly who I am. Instead, as a white person, you come in and the first thing you asking is he the right person for the job based off of nothing? You see everything, you see all the improvements, but you're asking, am I the right person for the job? I don't take that part personal because, like with any job, you have to understand there's a certain level. You don't know me, but give yourself an opportunity to get to know me. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You shouldn't be butthurt, and I shouldn't be butthurt. But don't walk in with no plan. You haven't sat down and had a conversation with me, but you questioning me behind my back. We're two men. Men don't do that. That's why I say sometimes in business, there are a lot of suckers. There are a lot of suckers that just don't get. They don't get, there's a lot of folks that want to be leaders. There's a lot of folks that want to be followers. And there's a lot of folks that want to be doers. Sometimes the leaders aren't the best doers. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. It kind of bothered me because I look back at my time and where it all started. That's why I kind of stood by with this guy prior to him leaving, because I remember one year at this gig, I boycotted for a whole week. I didn't go to work. And that's because I thought I deserved a raise. I thought the pennies they gave me was crap. Took off a whole week. By the seventh day, literally 7th day, at the same time, you don't ever do anything and not have a plan. I had another job, so really wouldn't have hurt if it didn't work out my way. I didn't go in there thinking it was going to work out my way. I just went into it thinking I know my worth. And whether that extra money I end up getting was not my worth or was my worth is neither here nor there. I think at some point when you're with a job, you just want to always grow. You don't ever want to, especially in my position now. I'm 33, I have a family, I'm married, I got bills. You're always looking to see it should be growth. I preach this all the time. I don't want to get stuck and I don't want to be stagnant. Stuck and stagnant, it bothers my mental health. If I'm not growing, then I'm not doing something wrong. So I have to sit back and stress and figure out how can I get better or what can I do to be better? So when things don't work out that way, it kind of, sometimes it gives me that question. I start questioning myself. I start questioning my abilities. Mental health, man, you just got to check that. So while I'm a little perturbed by the actions of that guy, it's not too much bothering me, but I just had to let you know. That's what type of week I had, man. That was exactly what the type of week I had. I didn't want to talk about, Deshaun Watson, man. But I'm going to talk about it. I'm not about to call the dude a creep, but, it is what it is. But today his lawyer came out and said that he had, today, meaning Friday, his lawyer came out and said that he's owning up to some of those situations, but he said it was consensual. Hey, nigga. Oh, no. Oh, no, buddy. Hey, listen to me. Hey, I don't know what world Deshaun Watson and his lawyer living in, but that shit ain't about to fly, champ. So look, I'm going to read to you a statement that his lawyer, I'm not even going to say the lawyer's name, but you know this guy because I've seen him in the limelight before representing other situations. So his lawyer acknowledged during a Friday news conference that there were some consensual encounters between the Houston quarterback and some of the 22 women who have filed lawsuits against him. But he said at no point did Watson engage in any acts that were not mutually desired. You got to read the room. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even saying the guy's a creep now. I think there's a little bit of, throwing it around. And then there's a little bit of, it kind of will now. Now I'm kind of, my idea is supported by now the team might got something to do with this. Because like for me, look, I look at it like this. If you're now saying that some of the situations were consensual, there is a possibility that the team may have sent their investigators, because they got that money, may have sent their investigators to some of these women and threw some chump change at them and forced them into saying that it wasn't consensual. Now that's crazy, huh? But my thing is, if that was the case, Deshaun, the first two women that came out before it got to 22, you would have said, we did do something, but they wanted it. I didn't force it on them. I ain't gonna lie, that's what I would have said, because it don't make sense to say it after you don't hire this expensive lawyer. 22 women now are saying that they were raped or sexually assaulted or felt uncomfortable or said their therapy session was inappropriate. It's weird to me. Hey, but look, man, I'll tell you, his character is being destroyed, dog. That's why I say, man, you should have listen, no one had, hey, look, I don't know nobody that needs 22 massage therapists. It shouldn't take you 22 times to figure out if this is the right person to, do you a reset and massage all your aches and pains. You should figure that out in 4. And if it's taking you 22, maybe you need to get you a man to rub you down. Stop being a homophobic. If it's that bad. But hey, man. Another black man not being more intelligent with money and ego and not applying his education as an intelligence. That's all that is, man. But like I was saying earlier, man, older I get, it's getting a little harder to work out every day like I want to. Because to be honest with you, I've worked out one time in maybe 7 days. One time in 7 days. But guess what? You just got to stay focused, man. Me personally, I understand that this too shall pass. And I will get back to what I was prior to not being what I am now, if that makes sense. Anyway, we're going to end this podcast now with some motivation. I think implying intelligence is the key. Whether you're implying intelligence to focusing on your mental health, whether you're implying intelligence to realizing that you need help, whether you're implying intelligence to be transparent, whether you're implying intelligence when you're dealing with your business and you're dealing with your personal life, whether you're implying intelligence when you're working for your employer or yourself, or you're trying to grow your business. Just imply intelligence, man. Like, I think we control the decisions that we make. So you can't allow someone else to write your story. You have to be in control of your own story. That gives you the control and the power. That way your power isn't stolen away from you. Because in the case of Deshaun, it seems as if he has allowed the situation to grow to the point where he's allowed someone else to control his narrative. Whether you agree with what's going on and whether you don't, you still got to understand that in the middle, there is a point where this young man had the opportunity to imply intelligence, apply, his own control to the store. I think we live in a world where we can be at a high at one moment, and you can blink your eye and it can be all over. Things can be done. Because I've been, hey, listen, man. y'all don't understand, man. Like I could talk about it, dog. Like it's taken a lot of growth for me to get to this point. And that's just me just being as honest as I possibly can, man, because it has not been easy. There's been some dark nights getting to the point where I'm at. And I'm still growing. I'm still running, man, to be the best motivator, podcaster, trainer, training, husband, father. It's a consistent battle with just being the best me. And the focus of it all is, at the end of the day, man, the number one thing ain't working out every day. The number one thing ain't looking good all the time. The number one thing ain't how you just how much money you have. The number one thing is, and it's several number one things: love, support of the loved ones, sleep, life, family, joy, peace, man. Like when you got all that wrapped in a bunch, man, it makes you so fucking happy, right? When things are going so good, man, you're so happy, man. And listen, I was sitting back, and I know I'm still rambling. I don't gave y'all the motivation already, but I was sitting back just because we did a little mini photo shoot, over the weekend, over the Easter weekend, because we had a new weekend. Boy, how time flies. But and all I could do was smile, man. So and listen, and I'm okay. I'm happy. I'm enjoying this process with you guys, man. We are on episode 24 of M the Motivator J Fitness presents Fit Talking Motivation. Hey, I'm out.